Hello, everyone, and welcome to the Next Perfect Step, where all possibilities lie in conversation. I'm your co host, Laurie Mullen.
And I am your co host, Kim McStay. And we would like to think of this podcast as a community based space where people can learn and share ideas in a safe environment.
I'm your co-host, Laurie Tremblay. We welcome you to a space of open-hearted conversation. Thank you for joining us today.
Okay, so today's subject that we've decided that we're going to all kind of talk together and talk about some of our thoughts and views and some things that we've learned along the way when it comes to the seasons. And since it's fall, we're going to focus on fall and what does that mean to you. So Laurie Tremblay, I'm going to start with you today about what your thoughts are.
Sure, thanks. Well, one thing that I always just amazes me is that when the trees turn color, that's their original color. And I think that's in their, like if they're green during the summer, they change to yellow. Yellow is their original color, which is beautiful. So the true colors are shining through. And then the leaves are dropping. And to me, it reminds me of something that I thought about is that I kind of wrote it down a couple of weeks ago about how we need to let go of our own stories and let go of our stories about other people. So the leaves dropping kind of remind me of like letting those things go, releasing and just being yourself, shining your true colors, being who you are without pretense or without needing to have expectations or show yourself as a certain way to other people. Just, let yourself be yourself, shine your own true colors. How about you?
And you had an experience. You had an experience. Do you want to share that too?
I would love to. I have a special place in the mountains. Like we all live in New Hampshire in different areas. And there's a lot of beautiful hiking trails and mountains and streams. So I have a favorite place that I like to go. And especially in this beautiful weather, I just felt called to go there one day. And I also write a blog. So I always take my notebook with me just in case I get some inspiration. And my blog is Laurie Tremblay at substack.com, True You Channeled Writing. So this is my walk. Was an amazing experience. I'd love to share it with you. I wrote it. It's called The Stone Man Speaks. And here, I'll just read it to you. Recently, I had an extraordinary experience. It was a beautiful sunny fall day in New England. One of my favorite walking places in the mountains called to me. So I took my notebook and went there. I have written about it before. There's a vibrant, renewing energy from the trees, the small waterfalls, the rocks, and the path on my mountain. This space always clears away any stagnant emotions or worries that I may carry. I felt so happy to be there, and from my heart, I said that I wanted to commune with my nature friends. There was a circular stand of 6 trees, and I stepped inside the circle, admiring their height and beauty. And in my mind, I heard, remembering is the way to begin again. So I wrote that down. I walked to the place where the small waterfalls cascade into the mountain stream, lined by rocks and trees. Sunlight fell on the face of a stone man. The face was 6 feet tall at least, in the cliff across the stream. It was a beautiful face. His eyes looked directly into mine, and I felt the exchange of energy with excitement and joy. If I moved to the right or left, his eyes followed me. His eyes followed mine in a most amazing way. I felt that he was ancient, wise, and regal. He had made himself known by coming into my awareness. Stone Man, I am showing myself to you because you have asked to commune. Your heart and mine are very similar. I am looking straight into your eyes as you are into mine. I can see your soul as you can feel mine. The water is my resting place. I have heartfelt emotions like you do. I am living. You have a voice, and so do I. You can feel my voice and hear my voice, and for that I am grateful. I see everything. I withstand everything. I have deep knowing. My family surrounds me, the trees, the rocks, the river, the birds, the leaves, the sun and the moon. You think me handsome, and I think you are beautiful. We are soulmates. We are all one. You can see I am connected, under and on the earth, under the trees, and above the water. Energy moves in me slowly, deeply, and I have access to ancient wisdom, as you do. I let the light play over me. It is part of my art and of my expression of who I am to you. Do not fear silence. Seek it, for within it are the answers to every question. Water is cleansing, life-giving, transparent, aware, soothing. It carries your thoughts and emotions to be restored. Earth releases her water to nourish her children. Earth trusts the stones with her secrets. Trees are her sentinels and guardians, reaching to the sky and deep into the ground. Wind is her messenger, bringing insights on the breeze and clearing during the storm. It carries the sounds of birds and rustling leaves. There is always a dance between them all, a demonstration of order and unity, of mutual respect. Take this lesson with you. Let the seed be planted in you because you are also part of the dance. Go in peace. I slowly walked down the mountain path, autumn leaves glowing with color in the sun, and I was humbled and grateful. I felt joy. That was quite the experience. It's stayed with me still with me, but it was very powerful and beautiful.
It is a beautiful message.
And it's wonderful because we can communicate with the trees. We can communicate with the stones in our awareness. You can, in your thoughts, you can hear what they're saying. If you tune in, if you just, quiet yourself and just sit with them in respect. It's just, it's a beautiful experience, and it's available to interact with them. So
now that you read it all out loud, let's break it down. Read the first part, just like a little bit of the first part.
Okay. I would love to show you a picture of the stone man too. Just amazing.
I can put it in the comments below so everybody can see it.
Oh, thank you. Okay.
I can attach it.
Okay. So it's called The Stone Man Speaks. Recently, I had an extraordinary experience. It was a beautiful sunny fall day in New England. One of my favorite walking places in the mountains called to me. So I took my notebook and went there. I've written about it before, and I mean on my blog, I've written about that space. There's a vibrant, renewing energy from the trees, the small waterfalls, the rocks, and the path on the mountain. This space always clears away any stagnant emotions or worries that I may carry. So that's kind of why I go there, is because it's just cleanses you. It's just so beautiful and positive. The energy is clean, is loving to me. That's how I interpret it. And I feel like home there. I feel relaxed, cleared. I feel good being there.
Yeah, and I think that's something we need to look at too, is it's renewing, right? You're saying it's a renewing energy. And even though this is fall and we think about it as a time of where everything's dying off, the energy of the earth is still there. It is still renewing. The energy of right now is new, right? And it's offering us that. It's offering us a chance to sit in a new energy. And I think that that's important. I think that we can sit with other people, excuse me. And if we're in a different energy, it gives them an opportunity to be in a new energy also.
Yes.
And, I really noticed with fall too, that, and you talked about the colors and how you go to your absolute true color. When the leaves show the color, it's actually the true color. And what I find is that in the fall, especially when you look out the window and you look at the view and you look at the trees, for some bizarre reason, it's like a filtration system. I always say the fairies have created that, where it's so clear, like the air is just, it's more vibrant. You can see details better. Everything just is so crystal clear. And you kind of talked about that as well with the experience with the mountain man, the rock man. And, I think, for me, it shows that like all the constructs that we've built throughout the year have now become, our awareness is either we're aware of our constructs or our constructs are in the awareness. And so we have that opportunity to now take all of that, and do we build on those constructs, or do we let go and shed, like the leaves of the constructs, like the oak trees? They're so strong. Those leaves hang on till the absolute very last minute. And I swear it's because they're gathering all the energy from other people as well as from their own self, and and from the earth. And then they're like the strongest, in my opinion, of the trees out in the forest. And then as they shed, it's almost like the cover to that carpet of leaves that I consider to be mulch for the spring's new growth. So it's like all of the all of our thoughts, all of the things that have happened throughout the year, and in the fall is that chance to turn that into food for the future.
That's a great perspective. I like that. I can visualize that and how it's all percolating and, getting ready for the new growth in the spring, as you said. And I love that yeah, and you and Laurie both have that connection to all parts of nature, and, communicating with and noticing, like you're noticing the oak trees, the leaves are having a hard time, or they last to the end. They hang on, they're strong. So, but yeah, I love that about both of you, because you're both so connected, and we learn from nature so much because we are nature.
Exactly. And I think that, to me too, as part of this podcast, is trying to reconnect, the three of us and whoever else wants to be a part of that, but to connect back to the nature of who we truly are. And I think that is kind of forgotten. And I mean, I didn't always love fall. Don't get me wrong. I used to hate it because I lived alone. I was raising a baby, and I was always trying to prepare for a season that I wasn't even dealing with yet, winter. And so fall to me meant the beginning of that. And it made me so out of balance with what the earth was trying to give to me. And that I really had to reconnect to, okay, what am I gathering from the earth? What am I learning? And what questions can I ask myself to shift from this angst about winter coming to a sense of peace where I'm balanced with what the seasons have to offer. And once I really stopped myself and I went back to being in balance with what the earth had to offer, unbelievable amounts of peace came over me. It was pretty amazing. And it's really taught me to go through the seasons and to respect each season for exactly what they have to offer. And for me, fall is letting go of all of those belief systems, all those thoughts, all that, garbage that no longer serves me, but also the new constructs and friendships and, things that have come in through the seasons that I really want to build on. And winter gives me that chance to marinate in all those thoughts. And then when spring comes, it's like a, rebirth into what I can do with all of that I've learned to take on and to shed. So.
Yeah, and I think that's what Laurie was saying in the before too, is you let go of a story of what fall used to mean. It's letting that old story go so that the new story that you now have is an even better one. And allow your authentic self to show you what the real story is, right? Instead of keep repeating what the old story was of fall for you. And I think that's what Laurie's talking about. I mean, we have to stop letting go of all of these old stories. We have to stop letting go of the meaning we used to give things. And there's really a time now where we're all becoming our authentic self. I mean, there's just an energy out there. Like, we're done with the titles. We're done with whoever told us what we're supposed to be, which is mostly ourselves, which were all based off of false beliefhoods, right? Of who we're supposed to be or who we are. And so we're all now wanting to be our authentic self. Like, screw everything, right? We just want to be who we really are. And that goes with letting go of these old stories. You have to let those go in order for yourself to be shown the new one, right? And that's like Laurie said too, with other people. You have to let go of your old story and your old definitions and beliefs that you've given other people to let you be able to see their true authentic self. Right. And it still doesn't mean, even if you see their true authentic self, it doesn't mean that it dismisses their bad behavior or anything like that, and that you have to be a part of that, or that you don't have your own self boundaries. But you can write a new story for them too, right? Like, you can see their true authentic self. And you have to do that with you first, though. I mean, before you can do that with anybody else, you have to do it with you first. So yeah, I think that's part of the fall too. And like you said, the fall, and then you get winter, the time to just sit with it all, right? Let go of the old ones, be excited for what's going to be new to show you, and in spring, take action, right? It's that renewal, it's that go energy, which is wonderful, right? But you have to give yourself the space to sit and do it, right? And if you can do it with yourself, it becomes so much easier to do it with other people, because you now have that foundation and practice of being able to do it for yourself.
Right.
You already know. You've already gone through all of the layers that you've had to with yourself. And it just makes it easier to do with everything and everyone else, because you've already done it.
And part of nature's message too says, do not fear silence, seek it, for within it are the answers to every question. And then that goes with also remembering is the way to begin again. It's like, just go, be sit in silence and just listen and go deep, just
Well, I'm
you'll
going
get
to talk about
insights.
this new energy that we're going through. Everything's new. We've never seen it before. And that's another thing, a part of this letting go of old stories, is we make a story out of everything. We want something to mean something. And when it's brand new, when you're a baby, you have no story because you don't know what it is. That's really where we need to sit right now, because nothing that's coming or what we're doing, we've ever done or seen before. It's all brand new. And so we have to stop giving it meanings based off of old things. And with what Laurie just said about sitting in silence, we don't do that, right? We are afraid of silence. There's a lot of people who are afraid of being by themselves. And we have an opportunity to stop this. We're so afraid of silence that we're constantly spewing out, we're constantly reacting and just putting out words and reacting and reacting and reacting. And this is where it's gotten us. That everybody is reacting to each other and butting heads, and we're not sitting and observing and holding space and trying to see the true, authentic, new meaning or new belief for the person. We're just going and going and going and talking and talking. And believe me, I come from a family who can sit in a room by themselves and talk nonstop. They just have to hear their own voice. There's something really beautiful in silence. And like Laurie said, there's clarity in silence. And we have to learn to be able to sit there again.
Yeah, and I will have to say I've worked with that for, I've been on my own for close to 20 years, actually probably is about 20 years. And I'm raising a child, so I'm not technically alone, but I have really, really focused on that inner work and that inner silence and, being in nature and really absorbing what it is I'm being guided to think about. And, like we talk about our intuition and where is that leading us. And so many times I sat out by myself with a little campfire and just let my my inner soul sort of decide what it wanted to be, and how do I want to proceed with my life, and who do I like about myself and who do I not like about myself, all of these things that I was able to really go deep within. And the world is rushed and we're taught to do the 9 to 5 job, and we're you got to pay your bills and this and that and all of the other stuff. And when I let go of all of that and I do go into my quiet spot, I realize that everything gets taken care of. I don't have to know how it gets taken care of. I don't have to worry about, I don't really have a whole lot of money saved away or this or that. When I start to think about that, that's when the stress of not being able to pay your bills, not being able to do this, do that comes into play. But when I can actually sit quietly and just trust within my own intuition and trust with the universal plan, and know that, I like where I'm headed. I like the service I'm providing for people. And when I'm in that state of mind, you're in this almost state of knowing where nothing really can damage you or hurt you. And, and I agree with you, this new energy that's coming, I think is really washing away that old matrix energy where, we have to go, 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 work, 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 pay our bills, catch up with, what our debts are. And, it's a rat race, and it's not very comforting. And, I feel fortunate. I have a young man that is thinking about college versus like experimenting with the world. And he's sort of in his fall place right now where he's shedding all those ideas that he's been told and really debating what, do I want to just go and live life and explore? And, most people are just like, oh, don't tell him that. That's, you're going to doom him to, poverty. But I don't believe that. I believe that when you're following your intuition, when you're following your inspiration, and you know that what you're doing is a service to the world, everything else takes care of itself. It's just so reassuring and peaceful for me anyway. But
No, I truly believe that.
I got off the
following your passion, everything just falls in line. I mean, I saw it with my son. He went into college and he had a major and it was not his passion. It was not his passion, but he couldn't figure it out. And when he finally sat down with somebody and was able to figure out how to make his passion a career, he has thrived, absolutely thrived. So when you're following that passion, whatever that looks like for the individual, it's all going to work out because you're happier, you're excited about what you're doing, and that makes a huge difference.
Yeah.
I agree. I loved what you both just said. I agree with it 100%. And I've experienced it for myself too, just letting go of the old expectations of work environment, and just kind of letting a lot of things fall away and stepping into what does make you passionate and joyful and meaningful. And you are absolutely right. You're taken care of in ways you wouldn't expect, ways you don't have to worry about. And I look around and I feel so abundant in so many beautiful ways, like friendships and just doing things that I love, meeting community, all sorts of things, nature, being around nature. I just feel like so much more joyful and so much more relaxed. And it feels like this is the real way to be, instead of trying to fit into these constructs, as you said, about what's expected of us and what we're told to do, what we're told to look for and think about. No, no, it isn't like that at all. It's just finding your true self and just relaxing into it, finding your joy. And that it's easy and it's just a beautiful thing.
Yeah, and I love what you said about abundance. So there's something else I've been going through lately too, is abundance is not just money. We look at it
You
as
know,
just money. It's not. You're abundant in joyful feelings. You're abundant in friendship. You're abundant in support. You're abundant. I mean, when you can feel all of the different ways, I mean, and there is, money too, but when you can feel abundance in all of those ways and truly feel abundant in your life, it's magical. It all just comes. I mean, the more you feel it as it is, the more that just comes and comes and comes. And it's getting rid of those old stories that it has to look like this or it has to be like this. I mean, abundance is joy, right? I mean, that's the main abundance. Everything else in abundance comes when you can really sit and feel like, wow, my life is abundant.
Well, that's it right there. You have to be able to see the abundance as abundance and not, like there's so many gifts that some people have and they look at it as burdens, and it's like changing those obstacles into opportunities. And that is so difficult for a lot of people to be able to see those things. And, with back to, fall and autumn, it's all harvesting. That's when everything that you have grown throughout the season, now you get to harvest. So if you're harvesting friendships and you're harvesting, different ways of thinking in your mind that makes you happier and more relaxed, those are all part of harvesting your abundance. And that can look so differently to so many people. It's pretty incredible how you can just make a little tweak in your thought process and life changes.
It's focus, right? We've talked a lot about it on our show. Focus. I mean, if you change your focus, miracles happen. And you're so right about it looking different for everybody else. And we have to realize that it's supposed to. We're not all supposed to look the same. It's supposed to be different for everybody. And it's okay. And it's all still abundant and it's all still joyful. But it's not supposed to look the same for every single person. I mean, that's part of the old story, is that we all have to agree or we all have to do it one way. No, we don't. We all get to choose our own path. And that's special. And we get to share with each other and learn from each other by it being different.
And again, going back to the example of nature, you're absolutely right, Laurie. Look at all the diversity around us in nature, the trees, the mountains, the animals. There's so much diversity, but there's so much abundance everywhere you look, and they're just being themselves. And I love how the message came across that we are the same. Like there are emotions in stones and trees, and they have the same, spirit. Everything is from the same source. So no matter how it looks, how different it looks, it comes from the same source, and it's like the same river runs through everything, or the same air, or whatever. It's the same source, and it expresses itself in a different way. but it's more beautiful because of that diversity. It's amazing how it's effortless in a community too. A diverse community coming together and making it such a beautiful space. So I get excited. This conversation is
So what are
exciting.
both of your thoughts on what are both of your thoughts on, like, with community, like what does that look like in the future? You know, if because I keep getting messaging and thoughts or whatever that you know, community is definitely something that's going to shift as far as what that actually means. And I, you know, like I visualize it as a community of people learning together, like, you know, like this podcast, you know, having that grow into, you know, other people sending their thoughts in and us discussing like we're doing now, different ways that we're thinking, but also like physical community where shared space and shared tools and gifts that each, or abilities, I shouldn't say gifts, because we all have all these different abilities, um, and they're not gifted to us. We just, it's our right to have them. That's like we're just born with them. Um, you know, and I kind of visualize that whole thing and being able to like utilize nature and the seasons and, you know, what is growing during this time of year and what can we harvest, you know, kind of like the witch hazel tree. Like who knows, you know, or who knew you could harvest that in the middle of winter, you know, and there's other berries that you can harvest in the middle of winter. So it's like, you know, is the community going to be that way too? Or are we going to, you know, still stick with everybody go to work and come home and, you know, talk about it at the end of the day? You know, and so I don't know. Anyway, I want to know your viewpoints, both of you, on that, on community and what that means, kind of.
So I
Great.
think that the communities will be based on just that. So I think that if there's the people who stay in their 9 to 5 and come home and talk about their day and watch TV, then there will be a community of that. There will be a community of what you just talked about. I think the community I would like to see in the future is one of harmony, where we all have everything we could ever want, right? There is no fear or lack of anything. And so we live in this harmony where we support one another. Everybody is doing what they feel passionate and love for. So, you know, the people who love gardening and growing food will grow food, and the ones who love weeding will be weeding, and the ones who love building houses will be building houses. And we will all bring our passion together to help one another and support this community as we're all doing what we love to do. That's the community I would like to see in the future.
Yeah, absolutely. I think that's a beautiful vision and something that's going to happen. If and a lot of people are already visioning for that. Right now, as we're building towards that, I think it's important to start where you are. Just take care of each other, basically. If someone's, you know, doesn't have a lot of food, you know, you cook for them or bring them up, you know, if they're sad, you get together and you sit with them. So I think just being aware of people around you and what they need and what they're going through, because we can help, we can be there, we can come together as we're building towards the community of harmony, which we already, you know, have here, and we can do concrete, simple steps to bring that about. And especially getting together with, I think, like-minded people for me is important. It's important part of my support system. You know, I need that. Great question, Kim.
Yeah, I think this support system is really important. Yeah.
Yeah.
And I liked how you framed that with, you know, being there for other people. And you know, and it's not like it's a new concept for me, but it's a little bit of a stretch for me because I have done everything myself and, you know, handled life alone. But it's a lot nicer when you can, you know, rely on somebody else to help you through a situation, or that, you know, you have that ability to go to someone and say, hey, you know, I could really use some emotional support, or, you know, even physical support, or whatever it needs to be. So that's, you have a much more generous heart than than
Oh,
I do. I'm
no, I
getting
don't
it
think
though. I
so.
I
think you're
don't think that
teaching me
that's
that.
necessarily true.
No.
You
Lori
both
does have an
are.
absolutely amazing heart, and that's no
You're-
question about it, but so do you.
Yeah.
But in saying that too, I read something recently. I read a post about sitting with someone, and it really brought up a lot for me. And we could sit with somebody in compassion, which really is just sitting in silence with them. But a new way about it is we don't have to sit in their sorrow. Just because somebody next to you is going through something horrific doesn't mean you need to sit there in their sorrow. If you could sit in the energy of joy, and I don't mean by talking to them and saying, well, you should be joyful about this, or you should look at the positive about this. No, no. You sit and let them be where they are, but hold the space of joy, then that gives them the opportunity. Sometimes that's what somebody needs, is to sit in a different energy. You can be compassionate and meet them
Yeah,
where they
tap
are,
into that
but you
frequency.
don't need to stay there and they don't need to stay there. If you could bring the energy of joy in with you, you give them the opportunity to feel a new energy, which might be what they really need. And I think that that's new. I think that we would say, you could come and sit with somebody when you're sad, but somebody coming and sitting with sadness and bringing and being in that with them is not really helping them to get out of it. Right? I mean, there's nothing, like I said,
Right.
it's not you sitting there saying to them, oh, you should be joyful. I'm not talking about that at all. I'm saying you sit with a steady, stable energy of joy within you, which radiates out to them. I just would like to see that more, us think more of that, bringing new energy to somebody who needs it as we're sitting with someone, is that I want to stay always stable in that energy of joy in order to bring it to everybody else.
It's a medicine. It's holding
They
space.
did
Yeah.
they, what was that? Say that again. What did you say?
I said it's a medicine and it's holding space. And I love what Lori just said about radiating that out to someone as
I mean,
a beacon almost.
yeah, I've said it over and over. You can't be sad enough to make somebody else happy. You can't be poor enough to make somebody rich. You can't be sick enough to make somebody else well. But if you stay in those opposite energies, that can help that person come out of those things. But it's not meeting them
Did
there.
you ever
You
see
can
that
still sit in compassion with them, but you're not meeting their energy. You're helping them meet your energy.
Go ahead, Kim.
Well, they did a train experiment where they had a man on a train, and he just started laughing, and nobody was talking to him. And he just kept laughing and laughing and laughing. And at first they'd scan the rest of the people on the train, and they would change their facial expression from what is up with this guy to just grinning. And then pretty soon the entire cabin part of the train that he was in was bursting out in laughter. And it was just that frequency of being in that state of joy and that state of laughter that, everybody couldn't help but participate in it because the frequency was so high. So I agree that, yeah,
What a perfect example of what I was saying.
I know.
Perfect
That's what I
example of what I
mean.
was saying. Yeah.
Yeah, exactly. So
I saw that
yeah,
video.
that's why I
I
saw that, because that was pretty funny to me. It's just that, that just described what Laurie was talking about. But
wow, great
yeah.
conversation.
Yeah. I just want to say one more thing. I want to go back to, I think it was important about what Laurie said in the very beginning about storytelling. And this really came up. I think me and you, Laurie, were talking about this because I had been seeing so many videos out there and podcasts and everything else about this um,
Oh,
three
Atlas.
Atlas. Yes.
Yeah.
And every single video, somebody said something different. This is what it is. 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 And everybody was different. But the one thing everybody kept saying is nobody's ever seen this before. This has never existed before. But every single person made a story about what it was.
Mhm.
We don't know. Be
That's
excited.
true. Yeah.
Be excited to see what it really is. Instead, we're all listening to somebody else's story. So we've already given it meaning. We've already given it a story. We already think we know what it is. Instead of just being excited to see what it truly, the authentic, true self of what it is. And that's what we do, though. We have a feeling. I'm in this, taking this psychic criminology class. And the main thing is to get rid of the story.
Mm.
So sit with you have an object or a story and or a case. I won't call it a story. It's a case. And to see what feeling or something that comes up and to just feel it and not give it any story. But that's what we do. We love a mystery. And I am all in favorite Scooby-Doo, so on and so forth, right? I love mystery. But the thing is, we always want to be the one to solve it. And we're not really sitting with what's there. We're giving it a story. We're trying to figure out and we're making up a story. And that's what we do with everything. We see something, we feel something, somebody says something, and we make up a story about what we think it means. And we're not sitting with the truth of anything and allowing that to come forward because we're already giving it stories. And I think that that's something, what me and Laurie were talking about. We have to get rid of giving everything a story. We have to get rid of these stories.
Right.
And just let it show us what it truly is instead of everybody coming out and being like, I know, well, 3 in astrology means this and 3 in numerology means this. So this is what it means. Or, it's 3I, so it must be AI, or it must be, I can't tell you, there must have been 1,000 different things of what everybody said. This is what it is.
We don't know.
And then you have to have.
And nobody knew. It's brand new. We've never seen it. You have no you can't take something of the past and make it mean something brand new. It doesn't, they don't line up.
Mm-hmm.
We have to get rid of the storytelling. I just wanted to make that point.
Thank you. That was great. That was a perfect example, right, of what we were talking about. It's perfect. Yeah.
Yeah.
Wow.
And I think that we're doing it with so many things, politics, news, everything. We're hearing a story and we're making it mean something. And then we're fighting with other people when they've heard something different and they think it means something else. And this goes back to us sitting in the silence of not listening to other stories and letting ourselves sit with what we feel it is and not letting ourselves make a story out of it.
Mhm.
And we can really find clarity.
Yeah, the clean slate
answers in there. Yeah. Go ahead, Kim. I'm sorry. I didn't hear what you said.
No, I just said the clean slate theory.
Yeah.
It's like start every day with a clean slate and, build from there.
Absolutely.
Well, we certainly have covered a lot of topics today, which
Exciting.
is really great.
Yes. And we so appreciate the support of our listeners. We want to thank you for listening and invite you to send in your questions and comments to thenextperfectstep@gmail.com. We would love to hear from you. This is why we're here, is for you in this community. Thank you for your support.
So if you've liked this conversation as much as we have, please like, share, and subscribe. And until next time, how is your intuition leading you to the next perfect step?